Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another podcast. We certainly, guys, appreciate you for tuning in as an audience. You guys are wonderful rock stars. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, bell notification on YouTube. Be sure to go to iTunes, Google Play, patreon.com/Chris Voss to subscribe to all the different ways to support the show. We certainly appreciate you guys coming by, as always. I've got a wonderful guest here today, Janice Shaka. And Janice is a self-confessed introvert who loves to travel. She has more than 15 years of experience in HR. She has seen the ins and outs of multinational corporations, small businesses, and startups. Janice has gone through a lot of career changes successfully and knows firsthand how difficult and stressful this may be for introverts. At her company, The Career Introvert, she runs workshops, courses, and webinars. And as a career business coach, she guides others who are earlier in their journey to help them avoid the mistakes that she made. She also shares her experiences on her podcast, The Traveling Introvert, and is currently on a mission from God. Or she's on a mission, let's put that, to get the Cambridge Dictionary to change their definition of an introvert. And I still think I screwed up your name, Janice. Chaka.
Yes.
I said Shaka. As soon as I said it, I just went, oh. So, Janice, welcome to the show. I certainly appreciate you being here. And I've got a lot of questions already from your bio, but if you could give us your plugs so people can find you on the interwebs.
Okay, on the interwebs, if you want to find me, my website is thecareerintrovert.com. You will also find me on Twitter at thecareerintrovert, and the same is for Facebook. It will be Career Introvert on Facebook. If you want to find my podcast, it is thetravelingintrovert.com.
Well, great. Well, you don't seem like an introvert, at least not from the time I've been talking to you pre-show. So tell us about your journey. Why you're an introvert, or you told me.
I'll start. I guess the best place to start is that Cambridge Dictionary definition.
There we go.
So the wonderful Cambridge Dictionary currently says that introverts are shy and awkward and unable to make friends, which for a dictionary is very subjective, which doesn't make any sense as far as how to describe something. Yeah. But really, the difference between introversion or extroversion leaning is where you get your energy and where you recharge. So it's more of a case of if you recharge by spending time alone or doing something quiet and in your alone space, and you get your energy from that. Or where if you're more extrovert leaning, it would be more along the lines of getting energy from people and feeding off people and extra stimulation, rather than being able to not make friends.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I would agree with you that the definition of introvert's a little off. I think there was a time in my life, especially when I was a child and a teenager, I was a bit of an introvert. I was always watching stuff happen around me and watching people as opposed to being involved. But I had friends. I wasn't sitting in a room talking to my dolls all day. Wait, I had dolls.
Hey, that's allowed. So I think one of the things is, and you asked me about sort of my journey or why I consider myself to be an introvert, and I didn't really know about it until maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I ended up reading Susan Cain's Quiet, which lots of people have done. And I was sort of, hindsight is a wonderful thing. And you go back and you think about different situations and things that you've done, because I'm very good at ignoring sort of health issues or my body telling me to stop. I'll just keep powering through. And so you go back and you think about things that, oh, okay, it would have been good for me to not do that or do this. Yeah. And you learn from these things, and it's an ongoing process. And not only that, I find that most people are somewhere on the spectrum. No one's super introverted or super extroverted. We're all somewhere along that line, and it can change for various reasons depending on what you're doing, who you're with, or your stage of life.
Yeah, it's I've gone through it. I mean, it's not that you can't make friends, and I suppose there might be some people that are like deathly introverted. I've seen on, I think it's on A&E or some of the shows where they show people that have the fear of leaving the house. Like they can't leave the house at all without having a whole full panic attack. But I think it's a thing. So I guess you found pretty successful being able to start a business of consulting where you're helping other like-minded introverts deal with some of their issues and how to be successful in business in light of it.
Yes, it kind of happened organically and by accident. I was working for a different nameless company, and I used that opportunity to travel. And I was in various countries giving workshops. At the time, it was on hiring for startups because I was a recruiter. And one of my friends was in Singapore, and he was running a meetup back in the days when meetups were first a thing for expats. And I was like, oh, this is a new platform. Let me play with it. And so I ended up setting up a meetup for introverts. It was networking for introverts in a small bakery that I used to go to. And they had the upstairs free for about 12 people. And so I decided, hey, let me just run a meetup and see what happens. Unfortunately, it meant that 49 people turned up.
Wow.
And there was no advertising, nothing was done. I wasn't shouting from the rooftops, hey, come and eat at this bakery. We ended up taking over the bakery for the evening. And it was a case of just, there was a need there for people to get to go and network without feeling the pressure of, oh, I'm going with a bunch of extroverts. I don't know what it was, but lots of people turned up and wanted more.
Wow. And so you had to deal with that and be like, hey, I guess I can't be too introverted when there's 40 people showing up.
Yeah, I didn't have a plan. I was just thinking a couple people would turn up and would eat food, and that would be nice because eating food in a smaller environment would be great. And then they all were expecting some sort of direction or leadership to this meetup. And I was just like, I don't even live here. I just did this as a social experiment. Yeah.
That's funny.
So that kind of grew, and then so I ended up changing the workshop that I did, and I ended up changing it to networking for introverts, and I ended up doing that in different places around the world. And it's different depending on where you go, how introversion is seen and who turns up and what they're looking for. So that was very interesting, and then it kind of snowballed from there. I started doing mentoring for some as charity work, like for free, to some people in England who were having issues. One was a younger lady, and she got hired as a manager, but everyone she worked with was older than her. And there was another lady who, she was French, but working in England, and didn't want to mix her personal and her private life. She liked keeping them separate, but her manager basically told her she doesn't network enough, and so she's not getting the promotion. And so I worked with these two for 6 months as part of a mentoring program. And afterwards I was like, is this something you would actually pay for? And they were like, oh, yes, we would totally pay for this. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, well, in that case, give me your money. But yes, so that's how it all sort of started.
Nice. And so it's just been a great little business for you, or a business for you, I should say. And then you've got a podcast. So you're doing the podcast with talking about introversion, I guess.
Well, this one started off as a bit of a joke or an accident. I travel, and so my friends are kind of like, we can't keep track of you. Could you find a way for us to know what's going on in your little life? And they're like, well, we hear some HR stories and we hear some of this stories, but it'd be nice for us to keep track. And so I started this, and it's not a huge podcast. It's 5 minutes of me ranting every week. It's kind of what it is.
You're ranting, huh?
Yeah. It might be a HR thing. It might be something I've seen on Facebook. It might be someone's asked me a question and I will answer it. It might be something along my travels where you get that, oh, are you traveling for business or pleasure? And it's like, can I do both? I can do my work online. But it really is mainly me ranting. It is not some awesome nuggets from no, it's not a thing. But it's been very helpful and a useful tool for people who don't know me. And someone will ask me a question like, oh, why don't you listen to episode blah, 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 because I talk about whatever it is. So it's ended up working in tandem with the business side of things.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So it sounds like you travel a lot as well.
Fun. I say fun.
Are you technically a travel blogger, or?
God, no, I can't. No, I don't. I don't blog. I can't blog. I'm terrible at blogging.
You just travel. Okay, well, that's
I just travel. Travel and eat.
That way, I'm sure. You can look around and see stuff instead of looking at a stupid computer when you're in Hawaii or something.
Well, it's hard to find that balance. I travel because my friends are dotted around the globe, and so I get free places to stay, generally speaking, where they are. And I try and make it coincide with either I'll run a workshop in that city or I'll have a speaking engagement in that city. So I try and make it work in that way. And that's how it's worked out that I travel so much. But also, I like traveling.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. I could use a travel about now to someplace warmer. I'm about ready to move. I now know why old people move to warmer climates for winter climates. I'm ready just to move to a damn place where it's just 72 degrees, 24/7, year round. I've had it with this stuff.
Well, I highly recommend Guadalajara, Mexico, because there's a lot of expats here. Well, actually, in Japan. Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun.
We actually had someone on the podcast who had 4 kids, and they moved around, and they were spending 2 or 3 years in Mexico, and they were telling me it's really great for healthcare costs for their little family of 4. And they said it's fairly relatively cheap to live down there. I think that's the main reason he moved down there. But he seemed to love it down there. He says, you should just retire down here, Chris. And so I don't know. I'm always interested that maybe someday I'll get old enough that I'll just move to any place with a warm climate.
Warm climate and healthcare is super important the older you get.
I'm probably going to need that when I get old. Unfortunately, I've often wondered that with what's going on in this country, if I'm going to have to move to some socialist country, France or Canada, Mexico, and beg for healthcare. It's so damned expensive here. But yeah, he was telling me if you have a little bit of money, you can actually get fairly good healthcare down there. And he said they have free clinics, but he said if you got money, you can stay out of the bad ones.
Both are correct. Yes, they have free clinics. They have the equivalent of the Green Cross, Red Cross sort of thing, and but you can also pay a little bit of money and go see a walk-in doctor, or you can have your own doctor. And there's a whole spectrum of things that you can do.
Are they going to legalize pot? I thought I saw Vicente Fox saying they were doing that down there.
I have no idea.
All right. I think that was the discussion we had on our podcast. So, with the Mexican gentleman. So, what's the biggest challenge that you find that introverted people have in business that you usually end up coaching them for? What are some of their big challenges and things that you really help them open their eyes to, or re-pattern or rechange their behavior, or make it more acceptable so they're not so they can perform and still be an introvert, I guess.
And I'm glad you put it that way, because it's not the fact that they can't do stuff. It is just learning a skill, or learning a methodology, or learning a way of doing something that you're slightly comfortable with. You don't have to be super comfortable, because there's stuff in life you're just not going to like doing. But yes, mainly it's the case of executives or sort of higher level management being told that they can't make that next jump because they're not seen as having enough connections within the industry or within the organization, or being connected with the wrong people is something that's come up, whatever that may be. And so just learning the skills of how to play that balance of seen and being visible as being a network of connector. Because for some reason, no matter how good you are at your job, if your manager or your higher ups doesn't know about it, if you don't tell them, then you're just left flapping in the wind. And so the idea is to help people become a little bit more visible without feeling that they're like tooting their own horn all the time and saying, look at me. And so that's one of the major things, is just trying to level up and figuring out how to network and the best way to do it while not feeling like they're losing out on their introversion and the balance, because taking a promotion can be super stressful, and there's a lot, there's a learning curve that goes with that, and making sure that you still keep that balance even though you're taking on extra workload.
Yeah. Do introverts, is it is it they're afraid or fear based, or do they just like their peace and quiet and would really like to not be rattled, or what is it that keeps them in that place, or sometimes holds them back?
Not wanting to toot their own horn. We're very bad at that.
Okay. So they're not really big self-esteem or self-grandizing sort of people, punching their chest, being the president of the United States.
Yeah, no, that can be the issue. Also being heard, because a lot of, for example, meetings, people love meetings, but what happens is sometimes there isn't a list of what's going to happen in the meeting, or you get picked on straight away at the meeting to give a response. And most introverts like some sort of structure, or to know in advance what's going to happen, so they can think about what they might want to say or what they want to talk about, or buddy up with someone so they have like an action plan. And so when they're picked on in a meeting and being like, hey, so what do you think of this? They're like, I just, and it comes across, or it can come across, that they're not prepared, or they're not listening, or they don't know what they're doing. But the case is they might just need like 5 minutes to step back, think about it, and then be told. So if meetings are run in a more inclusive environment where people know what's going to be on the agenda, it can be helpful. Oh, so yeah, that's one of the things that tends to be holds people back, and that fine line of being seen to be sociable at work, while keeping your private life private, because for some reason being sociable at work equals you're good at being a manager.
Cool. Yeah, it's I think there's and I suppose how do I find out if I'm an introvert? Do I go take those personality tests? I think there's one that has like 6 personalities or something they put you in.
So there's the 16 personality test. I know about that one. Myers-Briggs is a very popular one.
That's it, Myers-Briggs.
I would say it's a nice indicator, but to be honest, if you figure out, actually, you know what? I have one, it's a 6-question test on my site, but it basically is trying to figure out where you draw your energy from, or what you hate doing. So if you find yourself at a party, do you go and talk to everyone, or do you just, take your drink, observe, and then go talk to somebody? And just the way you interact and how you recharge. Do you recharge by reading a book alone, or do you like lots of people and music, and what feels like overstimulation and what doesn't? I love the tests, but I've also done a lot of them in my time and administered a lot of them in my time as a recruiter, and it depends.
Okay. I know I've taken the Myers-Briggs test, and sometimes I always wonder, because I'm always kind of an introvert, extrovert. I'm always kind of an extrovert, but sometimes I think I'm an introvert. Like, I like to be at home. I don't like to go to the store and mingle with a bunch of idiots at the store. I've kind of reached the point in life where the more I'm around my dog and the more I know people, the more I love my dog, and not really people so much. Not you, but just other people. But you know what I mean? You reach a point where you're just comfortable with I just want to do my thing, leave me alone. But then I'm an extrovert. I can go to a party, I could be the life of the party, or I can just sit back. But and I'm careful with my friends and the people I meet. So sometimes I wonder if there's some like yin and yang balance between me being introvert and extrovert. Or maybe I just have 2 modes, 2 gears that I can shift between when I want to.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case. Most people are somewhere in between. But
Yeah.
What makes you feel happy? Like, where are you most at peace?
When I'm high or asleep.
That's fair. I love napping.
Not necessarily in that order. Or when I'm playing with my dogs. I like that. That's always a happy place. Go to your happy place. The concept of dealing with these issues, and I was trying to I had a question for you that had come to my mind, and it now escapes me. So I'm killing time to try and find it by meandering about. But the thing I've always had is, the thing I was going to say was, I'm not married. I don't have kids. I just can't handle the noise, the racket, Yickety yak. I just can't handle it. If I get around my friends with kids or my nieces and nephews, I love being around with them. I can enjoy them for a couple hours. But when I come back, I'm like drained. Like I just want to go sit someplace and just look at the wall or something. You know what I mean? They suck the energy, like they suck the energy out of you because they're just so energetic and there's so much going on. But I lose my mind if I live that environment, and most of it's already gone anyway. So I don't know if that makes me an introvert where I have to, if I go into, like, if I do events, when I come home, there has to be some serious drinking and quiet time to recharge, I guess.
So there you go. That's what you do to recharge. You like being alone, and you kind of hit a brick wall. You can be out for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, nope, I can't.
I don't want to be here, and I go. Yeah, sometimes I wonder if I am really an extrovert or if I'm an introvert. But like if I go out, I have no fear of speaking my mind. If I go out to an event, or even if I'm working the Starbucks counter, or I'm like working the guy at the bank, or I'm at the buying gas or at the convenience store, I can tell jokes, get people laughing. I can spin off impromptu stuff that's funny and usually brightens people's day. So I'm not too introverted, but yeah, if I get around a lot of noise, or if I'm around a lot of noise, like when I go home to visit my family over the holidays, I enjoy spending time with them. But sometimes I'm just like, I need to go in a quiet space and just look at the wall.
Well, I think slightly you're confusing the fact that being an introvert doesn't mean that you can't go out and be gregarious or the life of the party. It's just the energy thing. It's not about your personality, if you're shy or awkward, or I know a lot of awkward extroverts to the point that they're very awkward and extroverted. But it's just the energy. And from what you're telling me, it's just a case of you just need some alone time and then you can go out and do whatever. But it's not, introversion isn't about being shy or awkward or not being able to tell jokes or be the life of the, as you can see.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to change the definition in the dictionary there.
Yes. I started a little petition.
So do you feel like you're going to be able to flip that definition they're using, or?
I think it will be a slow process. The idea is to get the word out there, and the idea is to start the petition, get a lot of people to sign, send them letters, get annoying on their Twitter and their Facebook, and see what happens.
There you go. Introverts are people too.
Slogan, hashtag.
I remember taking the Myers-Briggs test, and I sat there going, wow, there's all these different types of people, and they've got this kind of pegged down. I was pretty impressed that I was matched. It was kind of funny. I was matched with Hillary Clinton when it came down to personality. So I don't know what that tells you. I don't know. But after that, I started wearing pantsuits. So there's that. But they'd put me in my thing that I was a Hillary Clinton has the same personality I do. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
Well, she did come out as an introvert during the run up to the elections, and people had mixed feelings about that.
Yep. Now I just take long walks in the woods for reasons I do not understand in my pantsuit. Yeah, there was a lot of good people that and it seemed like every category of personality, introverts, and then they have like little kind of variations of each extreme, I guess. And there's a lot of great leaders and people in all the different areas of personality. And just people can be special in their own right based upon how they are. And that's what my mom used to tell me when she put me on the small short bus as a kid.
Well, it's true. It's just people are just people, and we have all these labels for people, and most of the time you're labeled by your job or something of that nature. And now we've got introvert and extrovert and ambivert and all these different things.
But the hell's an ambivert? They glow amber at night or something?
No, just dead center, a little bit introvert, a little bit extrovert.
They glow. Maybe that's what I am. Maybe I'm an ambivert, or I'm a bitrovert. Bi extrovert introvert. I'm a bivert.
Yeah, there we go.
When people ask me now if I'm male or female, I'm going to say I'm a bivert. And be like,
And they're going to be like, oh,
Pop's gonna be
okay.
like, get out of the car. Get out of the car, put your hands on your back. But off, you're a bivert. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, Judge, I'm a bivert. I'm sorry that you found me alone with 2 hookers. I'm a bivert. I can't help myself. What's a bivert? I don't know. Just let him go.
We don't want to deal with it. But yeah, no, you're right though. Everyone's individual, and we get so caught up in labels and stuff, and it's not worth it. People are just people.
I think that we need to get away from labels. I mean, we all need to realize we're all human beings. If you cut us open, we all are red inside. We all bleed the same way. We have the same organs. Although I'm pretty sure Trump's a lizard man, so we'll exclude him. He's probably a lizard man from Mars, I think. But
giving Mars a bad name.
Aren't most politicians in Congress lizard people? I think that's how it works. According to the World Globe on the counter there, you want to go through the store. But yeah, I think, but it's interesting to me. Some people have challenges. I've met people that you might want to be an extrovert coach on, where you teach them how to tone it the fuck down. I got you. Listen, man, you gotta calm the fuck down.
I can see that.
You're an extrovert, but you're annoying the rest of the fuck of us, and you want you to knock it off, or we're gonna have to kill you. That's just it. So, just step away from the cocaine, the 8-ball, and calm the fuck down. Dial this back up a little bit. See, I just probably doubled your income there. I just opened up a whole new avenue of consulting. I mean, you're really missing a whole marketplace, really.
Yeah, I do know something that would be interesting.
Maybe that's my job, because I'm good at telling people to calm the fuck down. Because they're starting to annoy my introverted times, and I'm just like, hey, just calm the fuck on down. Yeah, I've been known to yell at people when I'm gaming and I'm on a party chat for like a gaming raid or something, and I've had to say some people, you need to calm the fuck down, shut up for a second. Yeah, like, you ever meet those people that they talk so much that they don't take a breath when they talk because they know that someone might interrupt them and stop them from talking, and they just love talking so much?
Walk away. Just like,
I just punch them in the face and then walk away. So I like to preclude it with violence and then walk away. That's my ambidextrous bird. So what are the things that you like to share with us today?
Wow. What other things would I like to share with you today?
Your podcast. We know about your consulting. Well, what are some other tips for introverts that you think are good for doing what you can with being introverted?
As far as feeling that you have to go to like conferences, oh my goodness, conferences, they are the bane of existence. And conference season is upon us.
Yeah.
Some people actually have to go to conferences for their work and network. What I've discovered is most business at conferences gets done 2 or 3 days before. It doesn't actually get done at the conference. That like head honchos and everyone else come in a few days before, have their little one-on-one and their tete-a-tetes and have their drinking and what have you and the dinners. And then when the conference actually rolls around, they're just like hanging out and because it's very hard at a conference. There's so much going on. Normally there's multiple tracks, multiple things you can see, multiple things going on, that no one can actually do a conference and get to everything. So go a couple of days before, contact people in advance, say, hey, I'd like to have a coffee. And then whatever happens at the conference, you have some people that you already know, and then you can go and nap for the rest of it. And there'll be a replay.
Conference. It's basically a day off. Yeah, we have huge conferences here that I really like. The CS show, NAB show, CTIA. There's a plethora of conferences that come here in Las Vegas, and yeah, if you're somebody who doesn't like being around lots of people, it's the wrong place to be. Especially CS. CS is pretty much a city unto itself. It just takes over our whole city, it seems like, when it comes to town.
I've attended a couple, because I used to work in casinos, not in the States, but in England. But there were conferences in Vegas, and yeah, training myself that I didn't need to go to everything because there's so many lights and flashing things and things to play with, and they're trying to like get you to play this thing so you can have it in your casino. And because it's constant sales, that's the other thing. You feel like you're constantly bombarded.
Ching of the gambling machines, always bink bonk, booming. That does drive me crazy when I go through the casino floors. I'm just like, really? We sit and listen to that for hours.
Yeah, and there are people who will not move.
Yeah. I just throw my money on the wallet and walk off. My wallet. I just throw my wallet on the gambling blackjack table there, and I just walk away because that's what's going to happen anyway. I just cut right to it.
Cut right to the chase. Take my money.
I mean, I know they're going to take it, so why sit there for an hour or two and get awful tiny drinks that have literally no alcohol in them? Might as well just take the money. There you go.
It is one of those things. And the other thing with conferences is location, because it tends to be at like a really expensive hotel, and most people don't want to pay for the expensive hotel and try and find maybe an Airbnb or something nearby. But as an introvert, it means stay at the hotel, because if you want to nap during lunch, you don't have to go and walk 15 minutes to go find your Airbnb, nap, and go, no, you go and you disappear. And it's fine, and it's quicker. It's totally worth the extra how much you have to pay just to be able to escape totally in a very short space of time.
If you're an introvert, is that what you have to have, is escape routes?
Yes.
You have to plan your escape routes?
Well, that's what I do.
Okay.
I try and avoid conferences for starters, but because I have to attend some to speak, yeah, I do have escape routes for sure. Yeah. And headphones.
That would be, if you're an introvert, that would be hard to speak. I mean, that would really be a challenge when it came down to it.
It's not actually what it is. It's not the speaking. It's what I found is people in general. It's not even introverts. It's the imposter syndrome thing. Like, well, who am I to speak about this particular topic? And the speaking is actually the easier part, because then when people come and talk to you, they have a reason to talk to you. They're not giving you small talk about, oh, where are you from and what do you do and all the stuff that people generally don't like talking about. They have a reason to come and talk to you because, like, oh, I enjoyed this particular part about what you were speaking about, and so on and so forth. So it cuts out the small talk, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, mostly when I'm speaking, I'm just thinking to myself, God damn, I'm so full of shit.
And people are listening.
I'm not sure if that's extrovert or introvert or ambivert.
Or just vert. Just human.
Double vert. So you travel around the world. Your accent, are you from England or here in America?
I'm from England.
There you go. Awesome. What part of England?
Ooh.
Dark part about no sun?
I lived in about 6 or 7 different cities, and probably that's where I got the traveling bug from. I circle around a bit. So my accent is very neutral. It's not from anywhere specific. I've had maybe one person all the times that I've interviewed people or for recruiting, like, nail exactly where I spent like most of my childhood. So it's interesting.
Nice. Oh, I love England. I love English people. At this point, I pretty much love any country but us, because we're just really a hot mess.
You can only get better?
I don't know. We're trying to hit bottom first. We're working on. We still got a ways to go. We're trying to see how deep this well goes, and then yeah, it might get better. We're still here. It remains to be seen. Knock on wood. But yeah. So you like Mexico then, huh?
Here's the thing. I've been here. Yeah, I've been here for 15 years.
Huh?
14, 15. I've been here for a very long time. And within that time, I've worked for corporates, I've worked for myself, I've traveled, and I get the appeal. I get why people want to come here. I think I've been here too long and I'm a little jaded.
Uh-oh.
And which is fine. No country is perfect. And so I get the appeal. People come down here. Depending on where they go, depends on the experience that they get. And like any country, there's still a way to go.
Do you feel pretty safe down there where you're at in the area, I guess?
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of nowhere. I actually don't live in town. I live out of town, and I'm the only foreigner for miles around where I am. And so, yeah, no, everyone knows who I am, and because, it's fine.
The gentleman we had on the podcast a couple of months ago, he had 4 kids, and him and his wife, they claim to move around, but I kind of get the impression they just moved to Mexico. When I was talking to him, he was saying, I asked him the same questions because, we hear all sorts of crazy stuff out of Mexico, beheadings and kidnappings and all sorts of stuff. I never want to go to Mexico these days because if they kidnap me and call my family for money, my family's going to go and be like, yeah, just whatever, keep him. We don't have any money. And if we did, he wouldn't be worth it. So I'd be screwed. And then just be like, it'd be one of those situations where they're just like, well, he's not, what do we do with this guy? He's eating us at a house and home on top of everything. But, you hear all those scary stories. And I think he said he kind of lived up in the hills or mountains, he said. So I think he was kind of away from the cities and the craziness and whatever. And imagine people can live normal lives there.
I used to live in town for years. When I bought a house, I ended up buying a house closer to the airport because I travel so much and I don't need to go to an office and go to a job. So I didn't really, and it's good because no one can visit. No one pops around for drinks or with beers or anything because no one knows where I live.
Well, there you go. You're that introverted, huh? Is that why?
Well, again, the culture here in Mexico is very family orientated. It's very drinking orientated, and people will hang out at each other's houses and drink until 3 or 4 in the morning. I can't. I'm not family orientated either, so that doesn't help.
I'm not family orientated, but I used to do the drink till 3 or 4 in the morning, especially at conferences, at events with our friends. I had to stop doing that because it just was bad for my health.
Yeah. Your body was like, that's for sure, you should do that all the time.
I always thought I could be like Robert Mondavi and I could drink wine till I was like, I think he died at like 95 or 100 or something. And he claimed to still be drinking 2 glasses of wine a day, which for me is a shot. But who knows? Guess what? And my body just said, no, we're not doing that. I had another friend many, many years ago moved to Mexico to retire. And he's like, Chris, this is the best place to retire. He had to come back because his wife made him.
Oh.
Why is kind of some influence there. But he's like, dude, they have $1 beers. That's the best place in the world and to retire because they have $1 beers. And I'm like, that's some of your priorities might be screwed up.
It's up there. It's up there. Like good weather, $1 beers.
I mean, really. You can't really say no to $1 beer. As long as. But he's like, yeah, you sit in the ocean. You sit at the ocean and watch these beautiful scenery and ocean stuff, and you get $1 beer. That's just nirvana right there, I guess, in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I was just like, I'm not really sure. I don't really like beer either. I like vodka. And so there's that. I suppose if I moved to Mexico, I'd have to start buying tequila.
Oh, I don't drink tequila.
Tequila. I know in Cabo Wabo, Sammy Hagar has his bar down there and he's got I think he sold his tequila line that he had. So very interesting.
Hmm. But no, I'm a vodka drinker as well, and so for vodka, it's just slightly more than $1. But yeah, no, you can drink and you can eat. Eating's cheap. I like to eat.
See, I'd eat all that. I love Mexican food. I love Mexican food and Italian food. In fact, I'm wearing most of it. Yeah, I think if I moved down there, I would just be 500 pounds eating every Mexican food that I could.
Came across your path.
Yeah, definitely. So, Janice, I appreciate you coming on the show. Give me your plugs again so we can take a look you up on the interwebs.
Ooh, okay. It is thecareerintrovert.com. That's my website. And then you can find my podcast at thetravelingintrovert.com. And you will find me on Facebook and on Twitter under those same handles.
There you go. Well, thanks for being on the show, Janice. It was wonderful to have you. And thanks to my audience for tuning in. We certainly appreciate you guys. You guys are rock stars, especially those of you who listened at this point. Those are the ones I love the most out of all of you. Be sure to go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. Subscribe, hit the bell notification button. Go to iTunes, Google Play, and also patreon.com/Chris Voss and all that good stuff. Thanks to Janice and my audience. We'll see you guys next time.